2016 presidential election may come down to the undecided vote. A recent Wall Street Journal survey finds that 48% say that they don't back either candidate, yet they want a Republican-controlled Congress, while just 25% of undecided voters want a Democrat-controlled Congress. Also of note in this poll, there is a larger pool of undecided voters this time around, 13%, and that's up from 8% in 2012. Chris Plante, radio host of The Chris Plante Show, joins us, as does Leslie Marshall. She's a radio host of The Leslie Marshall Show, and she's also a Fox News contributor. Chris, let's start with you. Undecided voters, more of them for whatever reason this year than there were 4 years ago. Who does that benefit?
Well, you know, it's hard to say for sure, but Hillary Clinton is not ascending here. She's losing altitude, and Donald Trump is maintaining a pretty tight control and delivering a message and staying on message. And if I were looking at the trend, I'd say it was trending toward Donald Trump right now.
Yeah, but we've seen that thing turn in a hot second. Leslie?
I love that hot second, by the way, when it turns.
It gives you guys lots to talk about in radio.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the bottom line here is when we look and break down these polls, she's got the women, she's got the youth, she's got the African Americans, she's got the Latinos, she's got the educated white voter, and the message that Donald Trump sends, I believe those undecided voters will have a very easy decision in November. They may be fiscally more conservative, which is why they say what they say about a GOP-controlled Congress, but at the end of the day, they are more liberal on social issues and will cast their vote for Hillary in November.
But on the other hand, Leslie, these undecided voters, apparently, at least according to this survey, they tend to tilt Republican, and so that would sound a whole lot better for Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton. Bill?
But that is because in the past we've had, oh, sorry, I thought it was me. Sorry, Chris.
No,
Chris, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I apologize. Listen, there are a lot of undecided people because a lot of people don't like either candidate. It will come down perhaps to who is least likable. The polls are all over the place. Yesterday, CNN had Donald Trump up nationally, likely voters, by 2%, on the same day that NBC had Hillary up by 6%. So the polls, I think, are not going to be as reliable this year as perhaps they have been in years past. And Hillary Clinton has a lot to worry about between now and Election Day, from Julian Assange to Citizens United to the list goes on of emails coming out.
You know, yet they both may have a lot to be nervous about. You know, the survey also, and I hate to keep going back to the survey, but there's some really interesting stuff when you dig into it. 8 in 10 of those people they spoke to have negative views of not just the Republican nominee, but also the Democratic nominee. And so it makes you wonder if perhaps, Leslie, people just aren't going to turn out to vote this year.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly hope not. And honestly, I don't think so. I think that we're going to see the Latino population represent, as they say, in big numbers. At least that's what we're seeing here in California. Wow. And I think millennials as well, who register as independents, and also many of which are undecided. I don't think it's going to come down to popularity because, quite frankly, it is true the polls show that both are very unpopular.
Okay, well, let's talk about a major endorsement that came in today from the Dallas Morning News. The first Democrat the paper has endorsed since World War II. Donald Trump also picking up an influential endorsement months after saying he would never vote for Trump. We're talking about the conservative radio host, Mark Levin, and he does a major about-face. Listen to this.
So I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. I'm going to wind up voting for Donald Trump on Election Day. I take no responsibility for the dumb things he says or the dumb things his surrogates say, just as I took no responsibility for the dumb things any candidate I vote for says.
All right, let's get your reaction to that, Chris.
Well, Mark is a friend of mine. Mark is a very principled conservative, and Mark has a very devout following of listeners on his very popular radio show, many millions of people, and I would suspect that Mark, coming around to the realities, the harsh realities of this election season, will have some impact on the election. I don't think newspaper endorsements really have a lot of sway anymore. And the Dallas Morning News, God bless them, they've got a nice record. That's over now. And they've endorsed Hillary Clinton. You know, I don't know how many votes the Dallas Morning News endorsement is going to move.
Leslie,
honestly.
What's your read on that? It's easy when people don't agree with the endorsement to kind of trash that endorsement, but does it matter or not?
I honestly have to agree with Chris somewhat, and it's not just Dallas. No offense, it's his buddy Mark as well. Look, we have seen, Bill Clinton endorse Democrats, or one of the former President Bushes endorse a Republican, and that individual doesn't win in their race. I honestly don't put a lot of stock in the endorsements. What I think this says about Mark is what historically we've seen happen. We saw evangelicals say they would never vote for Mitt Romney, and they came out and did. We see that on both the left and the right, that they come around people that typically vote Democrat, will vote Democrat, and Republican, although this is a very different race this year. With regard to Dallas, very quickly, I think their state is diverse, and they're echoing the sentiment of the people. I think that red state is purple and maybe will turn blue.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a prediction.
Watch the enthusiasm gap also. There is a significant, noteworthy enthusiasm gap this year, and that doesn't favor Hillary either.
Okay, we'll talk to you both again soon, and we'll watch for that prediction, Leslie, to see if that one works out in the end. Chris Plante, Leslie Marshall, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.